Welcome back to Leah's Leaves. Wow, guys, we are having a beautiful day here. It's Saturday, August 21st, and I just got through a marathon week that included helping to edit our church's 101st anniversary cookbook, getting a relative married off yesterday, and Tropical Storm Fred drifting by, kind of changing my plans that day. And then it's just been like unpleasantly hot and muggy. And today the humidity is lower, the sun is shining, but it's partly cloudy skies. We didn't have rain today, and it was a perfect day in the low to mid 80s to get out in the garden and think about fall planting. These tired looking plants here are seedlings that I was able to purchase at a very low cost at the Shenandoah Valley produce auction like 3 weeks ago. And we've just been watering them periodically and keeping them out here on the porch ledge, trying to keep enough of them alive. I had a plant sale and sold a few, but in my area, people don't plant fall gardens. They're really just summer gardeners. I'm making it my personal mission as Leah's Leaves to try to change their minds and convince them to go ahead and grow fall gardens. But I will show you what's been going on here today. And I'll say that I had help. A young man named Kevin came and he needed some work, and I needed somebody who's stronger than me to do the heavy lifting. And so I paid him for a couple hours of time today, and he did wonderful things to help me get ahead in my fall planting. This bed is the last thing I'll be working on today. It already has a basil plant, as you can see back in the corner, and some tarragon. That's Mexican tarragon, the kind you can grow from seed. French tarragon you have to grow from starts. There's a tiny Tim tomato on the front stake and a yellow plum tomato back here with a couple little fruits that are ripe. We've been just snacking on these here, and plenty of fruit yet to come. This is another indeterminate variety. It likes this area. You can see the leaves are very healthy. It has no disease, no pests. It's just a beautiful, healthy plant facing straight west. So it gets partial sun during the daytime and then direct sun from about 2 o'clock in the afternoon onward. And it loves its life. So in that bed, I'm going to plant some radishes and beets. And I'm going to take some of that lettuce that you saw on the ledge and plant it right here in the front row and just have like a little cut and come again lettuce patch for myself. Some of the seeds I'll grow on the edges are Indian coriander and Emily basil, both from Baker Creek. That'll come. In this bed, this had zucchini and cucumbers in it, and today I ripped out the last of the cucamelons. The zucchini was already spent, the cucumbers were already spent. I got good yields on both. Now I have this is a yellow zucchini that I just planted to get one more flush of flesh before the first frost comes. My first frost date around here is usually between October 5th and 15th, so I aim for the 10th. Although the last 2 years we've had a light frost earlier than that, but I just cover everything and it survives. The rest of this bed now is planted out with fresh things, all seeds. In the front row is dill. In the back row, horizontally, is parsley. And then in little vertical rows along right above the zucchini, from left to right, is purslane, 3 kinds of bok choy, and Pellerosa radicchio. And then that zucchini I'll train out to grow up here and over the corner edge. This is my volunteer San Marzano, by the way. It's just growing here among I was letting the Swiss chard grow and go to seed because it was in its 2nd year. I wanted to save seed for it. And you can see I still have a little bit of remnant of seed I can save from it. But the tomato grew up right next to my blueberry plant and just took over. And so I'm letting it because this volunteer came from a seed of a tomato that would have grown back there by that window last year, and it just loved this spot and thrived. Again, no pest pressure at all on the west side of the house. I don't know why, but I'm grateful for it. So I'll come back out here, probably do a video on it if you're interested, about how to save seed from Swiss chard. It's very easy to do, but I'll show you what to look for. And then when that video's done and the seeds are completely harvested, I'll rip all that out and let the tomato have the space for the rest of the season. Okay, then around here, Kevin also helped me top up all the containers with fresh composted manure, just to add a dose of good nutrition to the buckets. In this planter then, after he topped it up with compost, I planted Parisian carrots, those little, the ones that are shaped like a ball, like a small ball. And back here, this bucket that has the cardboard on it had originally been the Manitoba tomato. Well, that's a determinate tomato, it's already done. And so I pulled it, refreshed the soil, and I put in Rouge carrots in that bucket. And then over here, we took a bunch of those plants from the plant auction. They're all brassicas and spinach. So I've got white kohlrabi, some broccoli, Gypsy is the variety, and red Ursa kale, red Russian kale, and then spinach in between. So I need to give this one more good watering. Some of those plants were dry and they just needed an extra drink, but they'll bounce back. This tomato was my favorite tomato this year. It was a yellow oxheart style called Golden King of Siberia. Well, the top part got some disease on it and start drying out, but it's an indeterminate variety and it had some offshoots here on the lower part. So today I just butchered it. I cut a deep cut, got all the dead growth off, added some fresh compost. I'm also going to put some Bloom Booster in there, which has a high phosphorus content. And it will hopefully regenerate that plant and give it a new life. And at least these younger branches hopefully will fruit and produce a few more tomatoes for me late in the season. There's still plenty of time. It's only August 21st. I still have till about the first or second week of October to worry about frost. So there's enough time to get some fruit, even if it's small. The other thing Kevin helped me with today is my patch is covered in, around here they call it wiregrass. I always knew it as Bermuda grass. And it's an invasive species of grass, and it grows horizontally, you know, in pegs and roots horizontally, almost like a vine. And underneath what I'm standing on right now, underneath that mulch, is a layer of newspaper, followed by a layer of cardboard, followed by 3 to 4 inches of hardwood mulch. And even with all that, you can see the grass came back this year full force. I went to camp to volunteer for a camp the first and last week of July. And after my first week back, it was peeking through, and by the time I got back from my second week, it was like full on 1.5 to 2 feet high and overtaking everything. So Kevin stayed out here today and pulled a bunch so that I have pathways to walk in. I'll never get rid of it. It's impossible to get rid of. But at least we can pull it out and make some room. This is my second wash of cucumbers. It isn't fruiting, but it's blossoming a lot. So I'm going to give it another high booster of fertilizer. I'm going to spray it to try to get rid of some of this leaf spot. And I'm going to come out here with a toothbrush and do some pollinating for it to try to help it along. I still have plenty of pollinators in the area. The bees are active. They haven't gone away yet, but that particular plant isn't pollinating itself, so I'm going to have to help it along. Oh, I'm so excited about this. I got to show you. My habanero peppers are turning color. And I'm so happy about that because every season I've planted hot peppers so far, we either have a late frost and they get in late, or we have an early frost and I have to pick them early. And this year we've had a proper season that started at the right time. And now I'm getting colored peppers, which I'm so happy about. This is a Purple Beauty. There it is. And it is beautiful. I've picked 2 smaller ones off of this plant. It needs a bloom booster too. In fact, all of my peppers are going to get a bloom booster with that high phosphorus content. Tomatoes are still doing great. I've had a huge picking so far and canned a bunch and made a bunch of sauces and stuff, and now I'm in a waiting period before the next batch comes. But these are climbing triple crop and Amish paste tomatoes here on this trellis. And then over here is pink ponderosa. Had some beautiful fruits off of this so far. There's some growing. They're going to be huge. And more little babies. These ponderosa varieties are wonderful slicers. This is the other pepper I'm super excited to grow this year. This is the Fatalii pepper. These are said to be the hottest peppers grown in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And they're turning orange as well, like the habanero. These plants are a cayenne and a regular garden variety jalapeno plant that I wintered over for the first time. I'm so happy to know of that process now. So I'll be wintering over more. These are Lesia Peppers. They're beautiful shape. They're going to turn bright red. I got the seeds from Baker Creek, and they're said to be one of the sweetest of the sweet pepper varieties. I've picked 3 so far. I have 3 more here on the plant growing, and I see several other buds forming, and of course this one will get fertilized as well. And last but not least, I'll show you the other section of brassicas. Kevin helped me do this. He applied compost. We're doing sort of a no-till thing out here and just trying to build soil health. And then he planted in here some Thunderhead cabbage, Gypsy broccoli, and white kohlrabi, white Vienna, and 1 red kale plant, just because I had space for it. I actually have a little spot right there, so I think I might bring another kale out. And then this is my pumpkin plant, and it didn't look like it was gonna do anything, nothing at all. And now I have, where's the other one? I have 1 fruiting blossom there. Ah, here it is. 1 fruiting blossom and another fruiting blossom. These are just sugar pie pumpkins, so they're not very big and they don't have a long grow time. And then down here, I'm super excited because I discovered that I'm developing this is gonna be a table queen acorn squash. This is the plant that I thought we had driven over and probably killed. So I'm really happy to see that there's still fruit growing on it. You can see here as I stand at the lower end of my house that I'm on a town alley, and then we have a little parking space back here. And for a while we were trying to fit 3 vehicles into that space and would really cram in, but it meant that the squash was in danger. Oh, and I'll show you up here real quick. Isn't that pretty? That's going to be lovely. Kind of cramming them all in and just get a late crop of the small cabbage, the Thunderhead cabbage. They grow like sort of a pointed head, so they don't grow out so much as they grow up, so it's a good space saver. These are my tongue of fire bush beans, and those I'm letting go to seed now, so I'm just going to let them dry on the plant. I've harvested off of that patch regularly throughout the season. Same with the okra. I've picked all the okra a person could ever need, and so now all the okra is just going to dry on the plant. This one here is almost completely mature, and there's another one back there. I'm saving seed from both red okra and this was called heavy hitter okra. So I can tell there's like another flush of blooms coming at the top, So I may yet harvest some. I froze a lot. Basically, the reason I'm not over ambitious about the okra right now is because my freezer is getting full. I just have very few places left to put things. I added a mountain of acidifier to this hydrangea at the end of last season and at the beginning of this season, and it still turned burgundy. It's pretty, but it's not the color it's supposed to be. And look how beautiful this Godzilla Fern is. I love that thing. It's got these little purple streaks in it. This is only its second year, so it'll just keep getting bigger. My Callias are going to seed. They've been really pretty this year. These hollyhocks were a complete mystery to me. They just grew and grew and grew and grew, and one of them is 9 feet tall, and it was their first year, and I just was not expecting that. And I only had stakes left after all my tomatoes were put up for 1 or 2. So you can see I have them sort of braided together to try to keep them upright while they finish blooming. But they've been great for pollinators. The Nicotiana has a wonderful fragrance. This was only it's an annual, and so now the seed pods are forming, and I'll be saving seed from that and growing more next year. And these red noodle beans were a miracle. They're on a teepee trellis of 7 bamboo stakes, and I've harvested a ton off of it. Some of them I missed and they got really big, so I'm just leaving them on to dry on the vine and form seeds. And it's provided shade for some other plants here, like the cosmos. Pretty. And the red Strawberry Fields Gomphrena, which is officially my favorite new flower. They're just beautiful. I have some campfire rudbeckia in the back, and I'm gonna pick some of that today and make a little bouquet out of these Gomphrena bulbs. They're so pretty. I've said in previous videos, but I'll say again, they were really, really slow to germinate. I thought that they weren't gonna grow at all. And then when they took off, they really took off. And this was a pretty surprise. A gladiolus was popping up from behind this trellis. I didn't know it was there, or I wouldn't have planted all this stuff here. So anyway, I've marked it so that I can, once it's done blooming, I'll dig up the bulb and move it and give it a better home for next year. Isn't that pretty color? I had no idea it was there. It's a pleasant surprise. Hi, garden gnome. You want to say hi to everybody? What you doing, Claire? Alrighty, folks. I'm going to get back to planting some beets and radishes. I think I'm going to stick with just a couple of varieties this time for the end of the season. I really like the White Beauty radish. And I'm going to try some more French breakfast radishes, even though I've already told you I have not yet successfully grown French breakfast, but I'm gonna keep trying, doggone it. And then for the beets, I think I'm gonna stick with Detroit red and probably a golden beet, and if I have the room, I might throw in a couple of the bull's blood. Anyway, I'm learning a lot, sharing it here, and I hope you'll come grow with me. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.